stay in victim mindset and to complain all day long about everything and to blame everybody and everything else. And then to beat yourself up about all the problems and how it's not, I get it. From a human perspective, I totally get it. That may seem like the most reasonable thing to do, to blame the past, to blame parents, to blame trauma, to blame the neighbors, to blame the economy, to blame genetics. It's very tempting. I get it. Because actually, that whole victim mindset, complaining, blaming, shaming, criticizing others, hoping, wishing, praying that others will save us, or they should see us, or they should help us, or they should treat us nicely. It seems so convenient to do that and to wallow in that misery. And it feels so good for a while because then we feel sorry for ourselves and all the self pity and I can't because and it won't work because, oh yeah, but it's too hard. It's too. I've heard it all before. And the truth is, I was there for way too long. I had so many, I was like the queen of excuses. I had so many excuses why I can't be successful, why I can't be wealthy, why I can't be liked, why it's not going to work out. Woe is me. I have an accent. No, wait, even better. First 20 years of my life, I had a severe, not just a little bit, a severe speech impediment. So now I had all these great excuses on why I can't speak, why I can't go public, why I can't be seen. And I wallowed in that for the longest time. Right. And then that turned into, as an adult, I had all this anxiety, depression. I looked for help and yada, 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 complained to my therapist. And of course, the therapist dutifully listened to me and we talked about the problems and that's all we did. And nothing ever changed. So the reason I'm telling you that is not because I'm being cruel or unsympathetic or that I that you don't deserve somebody to listen to you and to that's not what I'm telling you. Of course, it is important. Actually, a little bit of that wallowing and crying is actually healthy because it gives you the opportunity to identify what is the problem and notice how it hurts. Notice how when you feel lonely, when you feel misunderstood, when nobody's there to save the day, nobody's there to help you. I get it. It hurts, it stings, it sucks. Yes, yes, yes. The reason I'm saying that isn't because I have no sympathy or empathy or compassion for you. I do. The reason I'm saying it is the more you use your precious energy. Okay? You have precious energy. That heartbeat, that breathing that happens automatically, that's your life force, that's your energy. What we do with that is a whole different ballgame. And if we choose consciously to use that precious energy and sit here and complain and wallow in misery and do victim mindset, which by the way is a choice, then you can't blame yourself for a really shitty outcome. I wish I had better news. Victim mindset, complaining, venting, blaming, always talking about what the problem is, that is not going to help you change your life. And by the way, either way is going to be hard. Staying in that lane of victim mindset, complaining, blaming, like it's my trauma, it's my past, it's my genetics, it's my brain chemistry. That life is going to be really, really hard because it will not only, it's almost like a weird, you give yourself permission to wallow in misery and kumbaya, and you will find an audience. I promise you, misery loves company. You will find people that will justify that you should feel this way and it's okay and just wait till Monday. Why don't you start in January 1st? You will find people who will completely justify that you have every right. And by the way, the truth is you are a victim. You're right. I'm not going to disagree with that. You're right. Because then I often hear, but Susan, you don't understand what they did to me. No, I don't. Nor will anybody understand. But what I do understand is if you stay stuck in this victim mindset, your life is never going to change. People will continue dumping on you. They will continue taking advantage of you. They will, like I said, misery loves company. They will kumbaya with you. But actually, when you need somebody the most, like really need them, guess who's going to be there? Zero. So that's hard. That's going to be a hard life. Or the other hard, should you choose that, is to recognize, oh, wait a minute. How about if I stopped victim mindset, if I stopped feeling sorry for myself, if I stopped blaming, shaming, and instead ask yourself, what do I want? Would that be a worthwhile pursuit? And what am I willing? What is the price I'm willing to pay to get that? And when I say price, right, in quotation mark, what kind of action steps are you willing to take to get there? What are you willing to learn? What skills might you need? Whose help might you, right? The minute you shift into not what you can't do, but what can, despite your trauma, despite the past, despite your genetics, and because all of a sudden you shift from victim mindset to winner mindset. And that takes just a different level. It takes go getter, it takes courage, it takes commitment, it takes believing in yourself even when nobody else is there. It takes a different level of you. And it gets better. And then just please accept and expect, oh, there's going to be a lot of criticism. There's going to be a lot of rejection. People are not going to like it. People are going to feel jealous, envious. They're going to tell you, don't work so hard. Don't, come on, it's too. So, either way, I promise you, people will trigger you either way. But the second path, you know what happens? All of a sudden, as you take more action, as you believe more and more in yourself, as you learn and gain the skills to become this level of you, the creme de la creme, first class, world class, best class version of you, you know what starts to happen? Yep, doors start to open. Life starts to happen for you. Opportunities show up. The right people will show up for the right job. Yes, you don't say. So, and remember, either way is going to be hard because life down here on this planet is hard. And I have more news for you. Life isn't fair. It can be extremely cruel. It can be mean. So, I tell my students on day one, here in my space, we don't do politically correct, okay? Because real life doesn't do politically correct either. But you don't have to anything. I'm not here to tell people what to do. You get to, which is a privilege, you get to understand the rules of life. You get to understand that you can't just go through life being a people pleaser and being kind and nice and sweet and pretty. Doesn't work that way because there are look, if you have lived for more than 5 minutes, you already know that there are villains, there are monsters, there are sticks and stones in this thing called real life. And for that reason, right, either way is going to be hard. But you can choose. You want to stay down in victim mindset, which will keep you down. It will keep you down because you'll always find somebody who will justify, who will listen to you, who will cry with you, who will tell you they're so sorry for you. And that makes you feel good temporarily, but it won't get the job done. And it certainly at the end of the day is not rewarding because it leads to more bitterness, it leads to more depression, leads to more procrastination, leads to more self sabotage, leads to more anxiety. And I get it. Your past might have been really dark and really harsh and really, yeah, I hear this all the time. That's life. Life can be really, really cruel and mean and demanding and unapologetic and most importantly, not fair. But when you can respect that about life, you get to choose how you want to show up. And you can get out from victim mindset into winner mindset. Because when you do, yes, it's going to take courage, it's going to take commitment. Most importantly, it's going to even actually take What do you want? What do you want in your life? What do you want to pursue? Now you start to get more and more clarity when you start to ask yourself these questions, and then you can develop a plan. And then you're going to start to feel a different level of motivation, different level of courage, a different level of commitment, not just from yourself, but from other people. And all of a sudden, life starts to become interesting and juicy and spicy, and you get to know yourself from a different level too. And I highly recommend that, and I understand. Look, you are a human being, you have emotions, you are sensitive, most likely you're an empath. So I get all of that, that life can often be very, very damaging. People can be damaging. And when you realize that and understand that, and you rise to that level, when you actually become more demanding of yourself than anybody else, that's when life starts to get so much better. So, I also want to remind you that what most people don't know, and this is what causes a lot of misery, because they blame themselves for their mistakes and failures and problems and all of that, which, okay, I can understand it, but understand that so many people don't know that childhood programming is running their adult life. And then we call that procrastination, self sabotage, anxiety, addiction, depression, imposter syndrome. No, that's childhood programming. And what I highly recommend is some of that programming has to go, because that is the programming that is controlling your life, running your life, ruining and ruling your life. And I don't recommend that, because that makes for a very difficult life. You deserve to have a level of self confidence, self esteem, self worth. Every single human being has that. You are literally a walking, talking, breathing miracle that has genius material inside. But some people choose to just continue wallowing in their misery and want to stay down there, and they expect an audience to kumbaya with them. Other people eventually decide, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. No more. I'm done. Next level. And that day is a very important day, because when a human being decides that, now good things are going to start to happen. I shouldn't say good thing. I should say none of us is a mind reader. We don't know what's going to happen, obviously. But the difference between this lane and that lane is this lane, the minute this person gets triggered, they fall and fold back down. The minute this person gets triggered, okay, what can I do now? Okay, got it. That's called responsibility. Having the willingness and the ability and wantingness to respond to life differently. This person gets triggered. This person gets rejected. This person gets criticized. They're like, okay, thank you. Next. Like, it's sort of like that bulletproof, rejection proof attitude. And I highly recommend that, because that will serve you. You become a much better problem solver. You become a much better decision maker. You are able to focus. You are able to find your North Star, and guess what? All of a sudden, that lane, much, much brighter. And remember, this is coming from a perspective of a hypnotherapist. People typically come to me as a last resort. I love to be the last resort, because I know when I hear that, they have already done and tried everything, only to find out it didn't work. Why did it not work? Because nobody touched the subconscious program. So, how is it supposed to work? We can't just keep talking about the problems, hoping, wishing, praying something's going to change. Nothing's going to change. You are going to have to be the change. And the minute you are the change, your life is going to change in the most incredible way. And either way is going to be hard. Choose your heart. Which price are you willing to pay? Complain, blame, shame, I'm tired, victim mindset, it's too hard, I can't, I don't have this, it's not fair, everybody else is lucky, I'm not. Or, despite, what can I do now? What do I want in my life? What's important to me? 360. I'll see you next time.